Before we start, this is a topic every traveler needs to hear, because in 2026, carry-on rules are stricter, enforcement is tougher, and "I didn't know" is no longer an excuse. Many passengers assume that if an item made it through security once, it's always safe. That assumption is exactly what gets people fined, detained, or even arrested at airports around the world. Laws change quietly, TSA procedures evolve, and international regulations don't always match what you're used to at home. What was acceptable a few years ago can now trigger serious consequences, especially when it's found in your carry-on bag. This video is not about fear, it's about awareness. Because the worst airport problems don't start with bad luck. They start with small mistakes people never thought would matter. A single item in your bag can turn a routine screening into hours of questioning, missed flights, or permanent travel flags. And seniors, frequent flyers, and confident travelers are often the most surprised when something goes wrong because they've always packed it before. If you want to travel smoothly in 2026, this is information you can't afford to skip. Before we get into the items that can get you fined or arrested, take a second to protect your future trips. Like this video so more travelers see it, subscribe to the channel for weekly airport and airline updates, and share this with anyone who flies, because one warning can save someone from a very expensive mistake. Now let's break down the carry-on items that cause the biggest problems at airports in 2026, starting with the ones people least expect. 1. Prescription medications without proper documentation. One of the most common and dangerous carry-on mistakes in 2026 involves prescription medications. Many travelers assume that if a doctor prescribed it, it's automatically legal to carry anywhere. That assumption is wrong. Different countries, and even different states, classify medications differently. Drugs that are legal and commonly prescribed in one country may be restricted, controlled, or outright illegal in another. Painkillers, sleep aids, anxiety medications, ADHD prescriptions, and even some cough syrups fall into this category. The biggest problem happens when travelers carry pills in unmarked containers. Loose pills, pill organizers, or mixed medications without original labels are immediate red flags. Security officers are trained to treat unidentified pills as potential illegal substances until proven otherwise. Seniors are especially at risk because they often carry multiple prescriptions and transfer them into daily pill cases for convenience. In 2026, enforcement has tightened, and officers are less forgiving about missing documentation. Another serious issue is quantity. Carrying large amounts of medication, even if prescribed, can look like intent to distribute. This is especially true for controlled substances. Without a doctor's letter explaining dosage and duration, travelers can face confiscation, fines, or detention. International travel makes this even riskier. Some countries require advance approval or medical certificates for certain drugs, and ignorance of the law does not protect you. There have been cases where travelers were arrested simply for carrying common medications without proper paperwork. To stay safe, always keep medications in original pharmacy packaging, carry a copy of your prescription, and have a doctor's note for controlled drugs. This isn't about convenience, it's about protecting your freedom and your ability to travel. 2. Self-defense items, disguised as everyday objects. Another category that gets travelers into serious trouble is disguised self-defense items. These are objects that don't look dangerous at first glance, but are classified as weapons under airport and federal law. Items like tactical pens, disguised knives, stun guns shaped like flashlights, pepper spray over legal limits, or keychains with hidden blades are common examples. Many people buy these items online without realizing they are illegal in carry-on luggage, and, in some cases, illegal to possess at all in certain jurisdictions. The problem is made worse by the fact that these items are often marketed as travel safe or TSA friendly, which is misleading at best and dangerous at worst. In 2026, screening technology has improved significantly, and these items are rarely missed. When discovered, officers don't treat them as innocent mistakes. Carrying a concealed weapon, even unintentionally, can result in fines, confiscation, questioning, and arrest, depending on local laws. Seniors and cautious travelers often carry these items for personal safety, not realizing that airports consider them high-risk threats. Another issue is forgetting these items are in your bag. Keychains, purses, and backpacks used daily may contain prohibited self-defense tools without the traveler remembering they packed them. Once detected, claiming you forgot rarely helps. Authorities focus on possession, not intent. Some of these items also violate international laws, which can escalate consequences dramatically when traveling abroad. The safest approach is to completely avoid carrying any self-defense items in your carry-on. If personal safety is a concern, research legal alternatives at your destination instead. What feels like protection at home can quickly become a serious legal problem at the airport. 3. Large amounts of undeclared cash or monetary instruments. Carrying cash in your carry-on bag seems harmless to many travelers, but in 2026, it is one of the fastest ways to trigger fines, seizures, or even arrest if handled incorrectly. Many passengers do not realize that airports are not only enforcing security rules, but also financial reporting laws. In many countries, carrying cash over a specific threshold requires formal declaration. In the United States, for example, carrying more than $10,000 in cash or monetary instruments must be declared, even for domestic connections that involve customs zones. The biggest mistake travelers make is assuming that money equals privacy. It does not. Security scanners, questioning patterns, and behavioral indicators are designed to identify undeclared cash movement. Another mistake is splitting cash between bags or people to avoid declaration. This is illegal and viewed as structuring, which can escalate the situation quickly. Seniors often carry large amounts of cash out of habit or distrust of cards, not realizing this raises serious red flags. Another issue is misunderstanding what counts as cash. Travelers often think only paper bills matter, but travelers' checks, money orders, prepaid cards, and certain financial instruments can count toward declaration limits. When officers ask how much cash you are carrying, hesitation or guessing is dangerous. Inconsistency between answers and actual amounts can lead to immediate confiscation, even if the money was legally earned. In 2026, enforcement agencies are far less forgiving about forgetting to declare. Officers may seize the entire amount first and sort it out later, leaving travelers without funds for their trip. In international airports, undeclared cash can also trigger money laundering investigations. Even if no crime occurred, proving innocence can take months. The safest approach is transparency. Declare amounts when required, carry proof of source if possible, and avoid unnecessary cash altogether. Electronic payments are safer, traceable, and far less likely to create legal trouble during travel. 4. Electronic devices containing illegal or prohibited digital content. In 2026, carry-on risks are no longer limited to physical items. What's on your phone, tablet, or laptop can now cause serious legal consequences at airports. Many travelers are shocked to learn that border and security authorities have expanded powers to inspect electronic devices under certain conditions. This includes searching for illegal content, prohibited material, or evidence of criminal activity. The biggest mistake people make is assuming privacy laws fully protect them at airports. They do not. Customs and border officers operate under different legal standards than local police. If your device contains illegal downloads, pirated material, explicit content involving minors, or documents linked to prohibited activities, you can face fines, device seizure, or arrest. Another overlooked issue is messaging apps and cloud storage. Content doesn't have to be saved locally to cause problems. Logged-in accounts can expose data during inspections. Seniors and casual users are especially vulnerable because they often receive forwarded content, downloads, or files without reviewing them. Another risk comes from traveling with devices that belong to someone else. Carrying a family member's laptop or phone makes you responsible for its contents during inspection. Saying, "It's not mine," rarely helps. In some cases, even deleted files can be recovered using forensic tools. Travelers also underestimate how international laws differ. Content legal in one country may be criminal in another. Certain books, political materials, or media can be restricted depending on destination. In 2026, officers are trained to look for digital red flags just as closely as physical ones. The safest practice is to travel with clean devices, remove unnecessary files, log out of unused accounts, update security settings, and avoid carrying devices you don't fully control. What's on your screen can be as dangerous as what's in your bag. 5. Counterfeit goods and fake luxury items. Carrying counterfeit goods in your carry-on is one of the most underestimated risks travelers face in 2026, and it can lead to serious legal consequences. Many passengers believe that fake handbags, watches, shoes, sunglasses, or accessories are harmless if they're for personal use. That belief is wrong. Customs and border authorities treat counterfeit items as intellectual property violations, and enforcement has become far stricter in recent years. The biggest mistake travelers make is assuming quantity doesn't matter. Even a single counterfeit item can be confiscated, fined, or used as grounds for further questioning. Officers are trained to recognize fake goods quickly, especially luxury brands that are commonly copied. Seniors and gift buyers are especially vulnerable because they often purchase items abroad, believing they are real, or knowingly buy replicas without realizing the legal risk. Another issue arises when travelers claim ignorance. Saying, "I didn't know it was fake," rarely helps. Authorities focus on possession, not intent. In some countries, knowingly carrying counterfeit goods is treated as a criminal offense, not just a civil violation. This can result in hefty fines, confiscation of items, and in extreme cases, arrest. Another overlooked risk is carrying fake items as gifts. Even if you're not selling them, customs may view multiple similar items as commercial intent. Online purchases also pose risks. Items ordered cheaply online and packed for travel may already be flagged in customs databases. In 2026, data sharing between brands and border agencies has increased, making enforcement more aggressive. Some travelers are shocked when officers know exactly which brand they're carrying and why it's fake. The safest rule is simple. If there's any doubt about authenticity, do not carry it. Airports are not the place to test loopholes. A fake item that cost a few dollars can end up costing thousands in fines, legal trouble, and future travel scrutiny. 6. Certain foods, agricultural products, and animal-based items. Food may seem like the most innocent thing to carry in your bag, but in 2026, it is one of the most heavily regulated categories at airports. Many travelers are fined or detained every year for carrying prohibited food items in their carry-on luggage. Customs and agricultural authorities enforce strict rules to prevent pests, diseases, and contamination from entering the country. The biggest mistake travelers make is assuming homemade or culturally common foods are allowed. Items like fresh fruits, vegetables, meat, cheese, seeds, spices, and homemade snacks are often restricted or banned entirely. Seniors are particularly affected because they often carry food for comfort, medical reasons, or gifts for family. Another common mistake is thinking packaged food is always safe. Some packaged items still contain prohibited ingredients and must be declared. When officers ask if you're carrying food, many travelers say no because they don't consider snacks food. That false answer can lead to fines even if the item itself is low risk. Another serious issue is animal-based products. Dried meats, fish, traditional remedies, and supplements made from animal parts can trigger major penalties. In 2026, scanning technology and trained detection teams make it unlikely these items will go unnoticed. Declaring food does not mean automatic punishment. Failing to declare does. Even if the item would have been allowed, non-declaration can still result in fines. Some countries impose penalties that reach thousands of dollars for undeclared agricultural items. The safest approach is to avoid carrying food altogether unless you are absolutely certain it's permitted. When in doubt, declare it. A snack is never worth a fine, a delay, or a permanent note on your travel record. 7. Personal protection, sprays, chemicals, and high-strength aerosols. Many travelers are shocked to learn that personal protection sprays and certain chemical products can result in serious penalties at airports in 2026. Items like pepper spray, bear spray, mace, insecticide sprays, strong cleaning chemicals, and industrial-strength aerosols are tightly regulated and often illegal in carry-on luggage. The biggest mistake people make is assuming size alone determines legality. Even small containers can be prohibited if the substance is classified as a chemical irritant or defensive weapon. Pepper spray is one of the most common offenders. In some regions, possession itself is restricted, and bringing it through an airport can result in fines or arrest regardless of intent. Seniors and cautious travelers often carry these items for safety, unaware that airports treat them as potential weapons. Another issue is forgetting these items are in a bag. Travel-size sprays used daily at home can easily be left inside purses or backpacks. When discovered during screening, claiming forgetfulness does not remove responsibility. Some sprays are also pressurized beyond allowed limits, increasing safety concerns. In 2026, screening technology can identify chemical compositions, making it difficult to pass undetected. Another overlooked risk involves medical or household sprays. Strong disinfectants, pain relief sprays, and specialty aerosols may exceed allowed concentrations or volumes. Travelers sometimes assume medical necessity overrides security rules, but that is not always the case without documentation. International travel adds another layer of risk, as some countries criminalize possession of certain sprays entirely. Even if the item is legal at home, it may be illegal at your destination. The safest approach is to avoid carrying any defensive or chemical sprays in your carry-on. Research local laws in advance and purchase permitted alternatives after arrival. What feels like personal protection can quickly turn into a serious legal problem at the airport. 8. Tools, hardware, and everyday items that double as weapons. Tools and hardware items are another category that frequently leads to fines or arrests when found in carry-on bags. Many travelers forget that everyday items can be classified as weapons under aviation security laws. Items like small knives, multi-tools, screwdrivers, wrenches, box cutters, scissors above permitted lengths, and even heavy metal tools are commonly confiscated. The biggest mistake is assuming size equals safety. Even compact tools can be considered dangerous because of how they can be used. Seniors and frequent travelers often carry multi-tools out of habit, forgetting they contain blades or sharp components. Another issue is personal or medical tools. Craft scissors, sewing kits, or hobby tools may seem harmless, but if they exceed length limits or appear sharp on scans, they can trigger enforcement action. In 2026, officers are less willing to let it slide, especially when travelers should know better. Another overlooked risk is carrying tools for others. Helping a friend or family member transport tools places responsibility on you. Claiming they belong to someone else does not reduce liability. International travel further complicates matters, as some countries criminalize possession of certain tools entirely. Items legal in one country may be illegal in another, even if they passed security elsewhere. Travelers are often shocked when detained for something they've flown with before. Rules change, enforcement tightens, and past experiences don't guarantee future outcomes. The safest solution is simple. Never carry tools or sharp objects in your carry-on. If you must travel with them, place them in checked luggage or ship them separately. Airports are not forgiving environments, and one forgotten tool can lead to missed flights, fines, or lasting travel trouble. 9. Certain batteries, power banks, and modified electronics batteries are one of the fastest growing reasons travelers face fines, confiscations, and questioning at airports in 2026. Most passengers know they can carry phones and laptops, but far fewer understand how strict the rules have become around loose batteries, high-capacity power banks, and modified electronics. Lithium-ion batteries are considered a serious fire risk, especially in aircraft cabins. The biggest mistake travelers make is assuming all power banks are allowed. Many newer high-capacity power banks exceed airline-approved watt-hour limits. Carrying one of these in your carry-on can result in confiscation on the spot, and in some jurisdictions, fines if you fail to declare or ignore posted limits. Another major issue involves loose batteries. Spare lithium batteries must be protected from short-circuiting, yet many travelers toss them loosely into bags. That is a violation, and can escalate quickly if discovered. Seniors are often affected because they carry batteries for hearing aids, medical devices, cameras, or flashlights without proper packaging. Another overlooked risk is modified or damaged electronics. Devices with swollen batteries, cracked casings, exposed wiring, or aftermarket modifications raise immediate safety concerns. Officers are trained to treat these as hazardous items. In some cases, travelers have been detained because officers suspected tampering or unsafe modifications. International rules can be even stricter, and what passed screening once may not pass again. Another issue is carrying multiple power banks, which can look like commercial transport or trigger safety concerns. In 2026, screening systems can easily identify battery size and type. Claiming ignorance rarely helps. The safest approach is to carry only airline-approved power banks, properly labeled, in limited quantities, and keep spare batteries in protective cases. Electronics are essential for travel, but mishandling batteries can turn a routine flight into a serious problem. 10. Documents, materials, or items. Restricted by local or international law. The final carry-on category that can lead to fines or arrest in 2026 is one most travelers never consider: restricted documents and materials. This includes classified-looking documents, government paperwork not meant for transport, sensitive work files, certain maps, military-related items, or politically restricted materials depending on the destination. Travelers often assume paper items are harmless. They are not. Some countries strictly control what information can be imported or exported. Seniors and professionals are especially at risk when carrying work documents, research materials, technical manuals, or even historical items without realizing restrictions apply. Another issue involves cultural or historical artifacts. Carrying old coins, fossils, antiques, or religious items without permits can violate cultural protection laws. Even items purchased legally can be illegal to transport without documentation. Another overlooked risk is carrying items for others. Being asked to just take these papers or carry this folder can place you in legal danger if the contents violate local law. Authorities focus on possession, not intent. In 2026, digital copies don't always reduce risk either. Some countries restrict certain digital content just as strictly as physical copies. Officers may question you about why you're carrying specific documents and what you intend to do with them. Unclear answers can escalate quickly. The safest rule is simple: only carry documents and materials you fully understand and are legally allowed to transport. Avoid carrying items for others, and research destination-specific restrictions carefully. One innocent-looking document can cause far more trouble than travelers ever expect. As you can see, most airport fines and arrests don't happen because someone intended to break the law. They happen because travelers assume rules haven't changed, believe past experience will protect them, or underestimate how closely carry-on bags are examined in 2026. From medications and cash to electronics, food, tools, and even documents, small items can carry serious consequences when taken through airport security. The biggest takeaway is simple: convenience is never worth legal trouble. Airports operate under strict laws, advanced screening technology, and zero-tolerance enforcement for many violations. Being informed before you pack is the best protection you have. If this video helped you avoid a costly mistake, make sure you support the channel by hitting the like button. Subscribe so you don't miss future updates on TSA rules, airline changes, and travel laws that airlines don't always explain. Share this video with friends and family who fly, especially seniors and frequent travelers, because one overlooked item can ruin an entire trip. Smart packing leads to smooth travel, fewer delays, and peace of mind. Stay prepared, travel safe, and we'll see you in the next video with more airport secrets you need to know.